My ex-husband tried to sue me for stealing his business clients after our divorce. In court, he said, she took them all. I quietly presented emails showing the clients had left him due to his own behavior. His lawyer had no response. Alright, so here's the story of how my egotistical ex-husband tried to take me down after our divorce, only to get wrecked in court by his own stupidity. The backstory. My name is Rachel, and I used to be married to a man named Derek. We met in college, got married young, and started a marketing agency together in Austin, Texas. At first, it felt like a dream. We were building something side by side, making a name for ourselves in the industry. We had real clients, real money, and a real future. But here's the thing about Derek. He wasn't as smart as he thought he was. He had this image of himself as some brilliant entrepreneur, the kind who read self-help books and thought he could manifest his way to success. In reality, he was just good at talking. Selling himself. Networking. Making big promises. But the actual work? The late nights, the problem solving, the client relationships? That was me. I ran the numbers. I fixed his screw-ups. I made sure the client stayed even when he pissed them off. Derek had zero patience and an even shorter temper. He would snap at employees, yell during meetings, and refuse to admit when he was wrong. I spent years cleaning up his messes because, for some stupid reason, I believed in him. I thought we were building something together. Then I found out he was cheating on me. The affair. It wasn't even a dramatic discovery. One of our employees let it slip at a happy hour, thinking I already knew. Apparently, Derek had been sleeping with his assistant, Claire. And Claire, who had barely been working for us for 6 months, had been bragging about how she was about to get promoted. I confronted him that night. I expected at least some level of remorse. Nope. Derek just shrugged. It just happened, Rachel. You've been so focused on work, and Claire, she understands me. I stared at him. I had been working my ass off to keep his business alive, and now he was blaming me for not giving him enough attention. I felt like an idiot. I filed for divorce the next morning. The divorce. Because we built the company together, splitting things wasn't easy. Derek, of course, tried to screw me over. He told his lawyer that I was basically just his assistant. Big mistake. My lawyer went through every financial record. Every client contract I signed. Every late-night email I sent. Every project I completed while Derek was off schmoozing at networking events. I walked away with a fat buyout and my dignity intact. Derek got to keep the business. But here's the thing, half our employees quit when I left. Not out of loyalty to me, but because they couldn't stand Derek. He thought he could handle it. He couldn't. Starting fresh. I took a break, then launched my own agency. Unlike Derek, I actually treated my employees well. I paid them fairly. I didn't scream at them. I didn't act like a dictator. And guess what? Clients noticed. Some of them chose to work with me instead of Derek. Not because I stole them, because they had been waiting for an excuse to leave. They just needed a better option. And I was that option. Derek saw this happening and, predictably, lost his mind. The lawsuit. One morning, I got served. Derek was suing me. His claim? That I had unfairly stolen clients from him, manipulated them into leaving, and caused his business to lose over $500,000. I laughed. Then I got angry. Then I got to work. I pulled up every email, every text, every piece of evidence proving that the clients had left because of him. I didn't have to convince them of anything, they left willingly. I compiled emails where clients complained about him. Derek berated my team in front of everyone. We're done. The work has been terrible since Rachel left. I refuse to work with a man who treats his employees like garbage. I printed them all. Courtroom showdown. The day of the trial, Derek walked in looking smug. He thought he had me cornered. He had no idea what was coming. His lawyer stood up and gave this dramatic speech about how I had systematically dismantled Derek's business. That I had stolen everything from him. Then my lawyer stood up. She was calm. Confident. We'd like to present some evidence. She handed the judge a thick folder. As the judge flipped through the pages, I watched Derek's expression change. His lawyer leaned over and whispered something to him. Then the judge turned to Derek and asked, "Mr. Callahan, can you explain why so many of your former clients independently cite your behavior as the reason for leaving?" Silence. Derek opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The judge continued. Your lawsuit claims that your ex-wife stole these clients, yet every single document here suggests that they left due to dissatisfaction with you. Do you have any response to that? Derek's lawyer looked like she wanted to sink into the floor. Derek? He turned red. He stammered something about how I must have bad-mouthed him. The judge cut him off. There is no evidence of that. Case dismissed. Aftermath of the courtroom beatdown. Derek stormed out of the courtroom like a toddler who just got told no at a toy store. His lawyer didn't even look at him. She just grabbed her stuff and left as fast as possible. Me? I sat there for a moment, letting the reality sink in. I had just destroyed my ex-husband in court. The judge basically told him he was an incompetent idiot in front of everyone, and there was nothing he could do about it. I thought that was the end of it. I thought Derek would crawl back into whatever hole he came from and finally leave me alone. I was wrong. The first attack. A week later, I got a call from one of my biggest clients. Rachel, did you tell Derek you were taking us just to spite him? I almost dropped my phone. What? Of course not. My client sighed. Well, he's been telling people that. He said you admitted in court that you only started your company to get revenge on him. Now, if you've been paying attention, you know that's not what happened. Not even close. I reassured my client that Derek was full of it, and luckily, they believed me. But I wasn't stupid. If one client was calling me, that meant Derek was probably running his mouth to everyone. So, I started reaching out. And sure enough, half my client list had heard some version of Derek's lies. Rachel only got those clients because she threatened to expose their secrets. She's actually terrible at marketing, she just rides off my success. She's only in business because of the money she stole in the divorce. It was pathetic. But it was also dangerous. Derek was trying to sabotage me. And if I didn't act fast, he might actually succeed. The counterattack. I called a lawyer. Can I sue him for this? The lawyer sighed. Technically. Yes. But it'll take time. Do you have proof? I didn't. Not yet. So, I started digging. It didn't take long before I found something interesting. Derek had been desperate after losing the lawsuit, and he had done something incredibly stupid. He had emailed one of my clients directly and tried to get them to come back to him. How do I know? Because that client forwarded me the email. Derek had written, in his own words, Rachel is not as skilled as she seems. You should know that most of the work she took credit for was actually mine. I have no doubt her agency will collapse soon. If you return to my company, I can offer you better rates and ensure a smooth transition. Big mistake. I immediately sent that email to my lawyer. Does this count as defamation? I asked. Absolutely, she replied. And it also counts as something else, tortious interference. He's actively trying to ruin your business. Derek's downfall begins. I had a choice. I could sue him, or I could use this to burn him to the ground in a different way. I chose the latter. I leaked the email. I didn't have to do much, just a few strategic conversations, a few whispers in the right ears. The business world is small, especially in marketing. Word spread fast. By the end of the month, everyone knew what Derek had done. And clients? They hated that kind of thing. Instead of poaching my clients, Derek lost even more of his own. No one wanted to work with someone so bitter and desperate. His business was crumbling. But he wasn't done yet. Derek was backed into a corner, and I should have known that a man like him would rather burn everything down than admit he lost. So, he did something even more insane. He hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on me. I found out when my best friend, Lisa, called me in a panic. Rachel, I just saw a guy taking pictures outside your house. I froze. Are you sure? Yes. I confronted him, and he said he was working for a client. But when I asked who, he got in his car and sped off. I felt sick. Derek was trying to intimidate me. He had lost in court. He had lost in business. Now, he was trying to scare me. I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to hide. I was going to end this. Derek crosses the line. I barely slept that night. The idea that some stranger had been lurking outside my house, taking pictures, sent a chill through my body. This wasn't just business anymore. Derek had made it personal. I checked my security cameras the next morning. Sure enough, there he was, a man in a baseball cap and sunglasses, standing near my driveway with a camera. He had parked across the street, pretending to be on his phone, but every so often, he'd lift his camera and snap a picture. I took a screenshot and sent it to my lawyer. Derek hired a PI to stalk me. What can I do? Her response was immediate. If he's taking pictures from public property, it's legal. But if he's trying to intimidate you, we might have grounds for harassment. I wasn't going to wait around to see what else Derek had planned. I filed a police report. I didn't know if they'd actually do anything, but at the very least, I wanted a record of this. But here's where it gets worse. Derek's new plan: smear my name. A few days later, I got an email from an anonymous sender. Subject: you should know what people are saying about you. Inside was a link to a website. I clicked it. And my stomach dropped. It was a blog, an entire website dedicated to trashing me. The posts were filled with lies, all written like some kind of insider expose on my personal and professional life. Rachel Callahan is a fraud. The truth about Rachel's business success. Shocking details about Rachel's past exposed. It was insane. Full of fake testimonials from former clients claiming I was a scammer, that I stole ideas, that I was sleeping with business partners to get ahead. I felt physically sick. I scrolled to the bottom of the page and found a contact form. No name, no author. But I knew. This had Derek written all over it. I set a trap. Derek was too arrogant to cover his tracks properly. I forwarded the link to a cybersecurity expert I had worked with before and asked if there was any way to trace it. His response? Give me 24 hours. The next day, he sent me an email with an IP address. And guess what? It was registered to Derek's company. The idiot had set up the site from his own office. Now I had proof. I called my lawyer. Can I sue him for this? Not just sue. We can hit him with defamation, harassment, and possibly cyberstalking. This is next level illegal, Rachel. I wasn't going to sue him. Not yet. Because I had a better idea. The public exposure. I waited a week. Then, I made a public post on LinkedIn, where a lot of our shared business contacts would see it. I didn't name Derek directly. I didn't have to. It's disappointing when people can't handle competition professionally. I recently discovered an anonymous website spreading false, defamatory claims about me. Fortunately, with some cybersecurity help, we traced it back to a business in Austin. I won't be saying their name, for now, but I will say this: trying to destroy someone else's success won't fix your own failures. I ended the post with screenshots of the fake website and the IP address. Then I waited. Derek's business implodes. The post blew up. People started asking questions. Derek's former employees, former clients, even his current employees, started commenting. One of his ex-assistants even chimed in: wouldn't be the first time he tried to sabotage someone who outshined him. Then the best part happened. A reporter reached out. Someone from a local business magazine had seen my post and asked if I'd be willing to share the full story. I agreed. A week later, the article came out: Austin business owner caught running defamation campaign against ex-wife's successful company. Derek's name was everywhere. And suddenly, clients started dropping him like a bad habit. Derek's next move: full panic mode. After the article came out, Derek lost it. I started getting weird phone calls from unknown numbers. When I picked up, no one spoke. Then I got an unmarked letter in the mail. No return address. Just a single printed note inside: you don't know who you're messing with. I wasn't scared. I was furious. Derek was losing everything, and instead of taking responsibility, he was lashing out. But he had no idea that I was already one step ahead of him. The final setup. I knew Derek wasn't going to stop until he hit rock bottom. So I decided to push him off the edge. I hired a private investigator of my own. Not to stalk him, but to dig up everything. And what we found? Oh, Derek was in way more trouble than I thought. Derek's worst secret comes to light. The private investigator I hired wasn't just some guy with a camera. He was good. Really good. Within a week, he had dug up something that even I wasn't prepared for. Derek's business wasn't just struggling. It was on the verge of collapse. He had maxed out multiple business credit cards, taken out emergency loans, and even forged a client contract to secure funding. That last part? Illegal. And it got worse. Derek wasn't just financially reckless. He was also stealing. The PI found records of fake invoices Derek had sent to clients, billing them for services he never actually provided. Some of these clients had already started filing complaints, claiming they had been scammed. And the biggest bombshell? Derek had been using company funds to pay for Claire's apartment. Yup. The woman he cheated on me with? He had been paying her rent with his business account. I stared at the PI's report, my stomach twisting. Derek wasn't just desperate, he was about to go down in flames. And he was so obsessed with ruining me, he hadn't even noticed his own house was on fire. And I was about to light the final match. The confrontation. I didn't go to Derek directly. That would have been too easy. Instead, I arranged a public meeting. I called up a former client of ours, one who had left Derek's firm after the lawsuit and now worked with me. He still had mutual contacts with Derek's remaining clients. Hey, I said. I have some information you might want to share at your next networking event. And just like that, the truth started spreading. A week later, I got a call from one of Derek's biggest clients. Rachel, you need to see this. They sent me a screenshot. It was an email from Derek, begging them not to believe what they were hearing. Whatever Rachel is telling you, it's a lie. These accusations are baseless. My business is fine. But there was one problem. I hadn't told anyone about his fraud. Not yet. Which meant Derek had just admitted guilt without realizing it. Now, I had him. The public exposure. The next day, I sent everything to Derek's biggest investors. The forged contracts. The fake invoices. The misused company funds. Then I sat back and waited. Within 48 hours, Derek's world collapsed. His biggest investor pulled out. His bank froze his accounts. Multiple clients demanded refunds for fake invoices. And then the final blow, Claire left him. She posted some long, dramatic rant on Facebook about how she had been lied to and used and was never actually in love with him. Derek was officially alone. But he still had one more trick up his sleeve. Derek shows up at my office. I was at work, reviewing campaigns with my team, when the front desk called. Rachel, there's a guy here demanding to see you. I checked the security feed. It was Derek. I sighed. It was time. I walked to the lobby, keeping my face calm even though my heart was pounding. Derek looked terrible. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair was messy, and his eyes were wild. You set me up. His voice was low and shaking. I folded my arms. You did that to yourself, Derek. His face twisted in rage. You think this is funny? You think you've won? I lost everything because of you. I laughed. Not because it was funny. But because the delusion was just too much. You lost everything because you're a fraud, Derek. You stole from your own clients. You tanked your own business. You spent company money on your mistress. His jaw tightened. You were supposed to be on my side. I took a step closer. Calm. Cold. Final. I was. For 10 years. And you threw that away the second you slept with Claire. Silence. For the first time, Derek looked shaken. I expected him to lash out, but instead, he did something I never saw coming. He started crying. Not loud, dramatic sobs. Just, silent tears, rolling down his face. I don't know what to do. His voice cracked. Rachel, I have nothing left. And for a second, just a split second, I felt a tiny pang of sympathy. Because I had spent years loving this man. Years believing in him. And now, he was ruined. But then I remembered. I remembered the screaming matches. The cheating. The way he tried to destroy my career. And whatever sympathy I had? Gone. I straightened my shoulders. That's not my problem anymore, Derek. Then I turned and walked away. Derek disappeared after that. His business officially shut down within a month. Investors sued him for fraud. Former clients took legal action to get their money back. I moved on. My company thrived. But every now and then, I'd hear rumors. That Derek was bartending at some dive bar in Houston. That he tried to start another business but failed. That he was completely alone. And honestly, I didn't care. Because for the first time in years, I was free. If there's one thing I learned from all this, it's this: the truth always comes out. Derek thought he could cheat, lie, and manipulate his way through life. But in the end, he destroyed himself. And me? I walked away. Stronger than ever.